So, chemical reactions, remember bonds either constructed or broken, chemical bonds made or broken. And when that happens, that's called a chemical reaction. We have several types of chemical reactions. Number one is the synthesis reaction. I've heard people say combination reaction as well. So synthesis is the same as combination reaction. It might help you remember what it means. And this is when we have two or more reactants combining to make one product. Okay, so we have some reactant A combined with some reactant B, and it gives product AB stuck together, a chemical bond formed. All right, here is an actual example of that. When we add sodium and chlorine together, we get sodium chloride, which is, by the way, table salt. Synthesis or combination reactions always have just one product. One product. That's how you know you're looking at a synthesis or combination reaction. The second type of chemical reaction is the opposite of synthesis or combination. It is a decomposition reaction. And this is when we take one reactant and it is broken down into its simpler components. Okay, so we have compound AB. We're just basically reversing what we just did with synthesis. We have compound AB. We're breaking it down into product A and product B. Here's a good example of an actual real-life decomposition reaction. This is something called ammonium hydroxide. You don't have to know that, but this is a compound. It's got nitrogen and oxygen, hydrogen again in it. Ammonium hydroxide will decompose into water and ammonia. That's a decomposition reaction. All right, type of reaction number 3 is a combustion reaction. You've probably heard this word before, and it simply refers to something burning. When things burn, it's called a combustion reaction, and it always uses up oxygen. Oxygen is always one of the reactants in a combustion reaction. Usually with a combustion reaction, not only is oxygen a reactant, but usually water and carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide are also products. Okay, so water, carbon dioxide, and carbon monoxide are products. Good example, so this is the general equation. We have some compound A that burns with oxygen, and we get carbon dioxide and water. A good example of an actual real-life thing is this. This is called methane. It's made of carbon and 4 hydrogens. So methane burns with oxygen, creates carbon dioxide and water. That's a combustion reaction. And our last 2 reactions are similar, but not exactly the same. A single displacement, also called single replacement, I've heard it both ways. Single displacement or single replacement is when we have an ion in one reactant replacing an ion in a different reactant. Okay? So here's the general equation for this. We have this compound that's made of A and X glued together. B comes along, and because B is more reactive than A, it actually kicks A out and replaces A in the compound. Good example of this is copper chloride, and we add aluminum to copper chloride. Aluminum is more reactive than copper. It says, see you later, copper. It kicks it out, and aluminum then joins with the chloride, and copper goes away by itself. That's a single replacement or single displacement reaction. And then the last one is the double displacement or double replacement reaction. And that's when we have 2 compounds exchanging their ions. So these are ionic compounds, and we have A bonded with X and B bonded with Y. But in this reaction, B kicks out A and joins up with X, and A kicks out B and joins up with Y, so that we get AY and BX. Good example of this actually happening in real life is something called barium chloride, added with magnesium sulfate, and you can see the magnesium kicks out the barium, joins up with the chloride, it makes magnesium chloride, and the barium kicks out the magnesium, joins up with the sulfate to make barium sulfate. So you will need to know those 5 types of chemical reactions.